What's up, tubers? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing, back at you tonight for our second lake breakdown of the week. And this time we're going to stay in the Austin Waco area. We're going to hit up Lake Waco. So come along. I'm going to break this thing down. We're going to hit it on Google Earth, see what we can find. Then we'll switch over to Navionics in a couple episodes. And I'll show you guys the offshore stuff. It's going to be great. Let's go. Well, if you've ever done a lake breakdown with me, you know where we're going to start. And that's right, we're going to start at the Texas Park and Wildlife page for Lake Waco. Let's take a look at this thing and see what we can find out. It's located on the Bosque River, just off of Texas Highway 6, within the Waco city limits. So when you're driving down Highway 35 south from Dallas, you're actually not too far from it when you get just north of Waco. Conservation pool level is 462 feet. Fluctuation is 2 to 6 feet. I actually skipped over the top part. Surface area is 8,465 feet with a maximum depth of 90 feet, and it was impounded in 1965. The water clarity here is actually stained to murky most of the year, which to me means that they're probably going to be a little bit shallower as opposed to those clear lakes. Aquatic vegetation says mostly water willow, some lotus, cattails, and pondweed and buttonbrush are present. Predominant fish species, channel, blue, and flathead catfish, largemouth bass, white bass, and crappie. We'll take a look at the lake records here in a second, but let's move down here real quick and look at the angling opportunities. So largemouth bass is excellent. Catfish is excellent. That's for blue catfish and channel catfish. And then you've got flathead being good, crappie, white bass, palmetto bass, and sunfish all being in the good category. Now, if we go up here and we look at the lake records, pretty decent. The largemouth bass is 1387, caught back in 2008. There actually is a smallmouth in here that's listed. Not very big though, 1.65, and it was caught back in 2017. So definitely something to think about, but some pretty good largemouth in there for sure. So let's go and look at one more thing. One thing I want to talk to you about was Texas Park and Wildlife has some fish attractors. You can actually see them here on the map, and we have the coordinates. We'll have those marked for you on Google Earth. But also, it was something like Friends of Texas or something like that. I found it out on the internet, has put a bunch of different brush piles out there as well. So I'll show those to you guys here in just a second when we get over to the Google Earth side. Tips and tactics talks a little bit about how to fish for the largemouth bass up here, talks a little bit about the other fish right in here, and that pretty much covers us for the Lake Waco fishing page for Texas Park and Wildlife. So let's switch over now and let's jump into this lake. Here we are on Google Earth. We're going to zoom into Lake Waco, and I just want to break down the left side for you really quick and show you how I categorize the waypoints on this lake. So let's dive in here to Lake Waco. I'm going to uncheck some of these, and we're going to talk about them as we go down them. So as far as offshore hotspots, we will have a second video or maybe even a third video, depending on how long it takes me to break down this lake, where we'll talk about these offshore hotspots. And we'll do it using the web app Navionics app, or not web app, the boating app, to be able to show really the contours and really, why I think these are going to be key places to fish on this lake. The next thing would be the brush piles that we talked about. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time talking today, but here's the North Arm Complex. These are brush piles that I found out on the internet where people have put crappie condos and things like that. Now, most of these are not for bass, but you guys have heard me talk about it a lot if you've watched any of my videos. Anytime you can come in here and you can find crappie condos, typically the bass are attracted to that because the bass will eat the crappie. So definitely worth taking a stroll by and just seeing if there's any bass in the area. And hey, if you're a crappie fisherman, these are really good points for you guys as well. All right, then the next would be the Friends of Lake Waco. These are also additional brush piles that are out here. These are a little bit further down in the lake. They're over here. All crappie condos as well, just all up and down this bridge. So this bridge is going to be a money bridge to fish for sure. And then laydowns and brush, we've got a lot of that throughout the lake. Not too much of it because the lake doesn't fluctuate too much, but quite a bit to talk to you guys about. We've also got quite a few ramps on the lake. You guys have heard me talk about fishing the boat ramps. Different types of rock formations that we want to check out. Channels and ditches. This really helps you in the springtime when you want to get back up in these creeks and position yourself in those creek channels. All of these tracks will really help you do that. We've also got different types of cover that's out there, whether it be debris or slabs or whatever it is that's out there. We've got ponds, old ponds to check out. Pond dams are very effective in the summertime. And then roads as well. We got a couple roads that are up here too that we can check out. So with all of that, let's go ahead and check it all on. And I'm going to take off the offshore stuff since we're not going to talk about that today. I'm going to move this over and we are going to jump in. Now, usually what I'll do is I'll start at the dam. I'll work my way to the east or to the north, and then I'll work my way back. So that's what we're going to do is we're going to start right here at the dam. Now, the image that we're seeing right now is for 2021. Let's draw this back. 2020 is actually a pretty decent little image. We're going to keep coming back until we find something that looks really, really good. So I'm going to go ahead and cheat and scoot up a little bit because I know where we're going to get it at. It's be right in here in 2015, 2014, usually 2012 is probably going to be our best. So we're going to start on 12 of 2012. Let's take it back one more. There we go. We're going to start on 11 of 2001. That's going to give us our best image. So as far as down here by the dam, this point that comes out, this looks really, really interesting. One, you've got this rock here, plus you've got a point with current coming here. I mean, it's a perfect place for them to ambush bait. So this whole area right in here is going to be a good area. You can see we've marked some of the bigger boulders that are in here. Also, you've got some rock piles that are back in here. If I zoom in, you'll be able to see them. Maybe if I change the date, there we go. You can see them even better, but some really good like isolated rock piles, a debris pile there, all kinds of standing timber and stuff to fish around. If you get around this point, when you come over here, you actually have a brush pile that's right in the middle of all this standing timber. So definitely a good place to go look at as well. And one place I didn't talk about right there is that has the potential to maybe be an old pond, but maybe fishing right there. If it gets any deeper, see if there's a little ditch in there. It doesn't look like there is, but maybe just fishing there. But definitely fishing around this point where this rock is, and then in getting over here where the standing timber is, I think you're going to have some success there for sure. All right, so I'm going to back out, and we're just going to keep coming on over. We've got some more standing timber that's over here that looks pretty good, and if you look at it, a lot of it's laying down as well. So this could be a really good area for them to be attracted to. This looks like an old creek channel or something. I didn't mark it because I didn't want to waste a track on it, but definitely you could go in there and just see if there's anything relating to the little opening there or around that channel. Now, as we pull back here, we get off the edge of this island. Some pretty cool stuff that's over here. I'm going to zoom in real quick and show you. So as far as the island goes, you want to fish out here off the tips. And if there's any type of saddle, this looks like it could be a saddle right in here. You'd want to focus pretty heavily right in here as well. And obviously anywhere around all that cover. Now, as we get in here, this is a really good place for them to trap bait fish. So if you can get them in here on a windy day when maybe the wind's blowing from this direction over to this side, that's definitely going to be, east to west, west to east, or the vice versa. Either one of them could generate some current right through here, and that could actually generate some bites for you. So definitely take a look in here. You've got some laydowns. You've got some pipe that's up there, some more laydowns. Pretty good little bundle of laydowns right here off the edge of the island too. Didn't even notice that until just now, but you got some tires out here as well. So all kinds of stuff to fish around with that island. If I bring that up to 2022, you're going to see it looks a lot different in 2022. In fact, the lake's actually in this image, which I couldn't get to before. 2021 was the best. You can see the lake's actually pretty far down, almost the farthest down it's been. So it just kind of verifies all the stuff that we saw. But if I take that back to when the water was actually at normal pool, this is actually what it would look like. So it would look a lot better. All right, so I'm going to move this back to 2012. And we are going to go back and start taking a look at this again. Hopefully, I don't know if you guys can hear that or not, but we're having a thunderstorm here, and it's definitely really close to the house. So we've got some laydowns back in here. This little island in here, this could be where some shells could collect. So I didn't mark anything here, but it would be worth scanning around just to see if anything's collected in here. And if you look off of this little point right here, you'll notice there's quite a bit of rock right here. And there's not a lot of rock anywhere else, kind of just sandy, but there's a nice little pile going on right here off the edge of this point. So I'll scoot back, kind of show you guys where I'm at. I went up here from the dam, and now I'm kind of working my way up here by this park area. So as I move on up, Just a couple other things to look. You got some debris here, some rock and things like that you could check out. These points, anytime they circle around like that, they can be really good points. So you probably want to check this out as well. You've got a ramp here, some good rock, nice little ditch right there just outside the ramp. So you could come over here, fish around the little fishing dock thing, and then come over here and fish this ditch area right in here. You've also got what appears to be some potential ponds. So that could be a pond, that could be a pond dam right there. You could actually fish just that corner right in here and just see if there's anything hanging out in there, or go and fish the inside of the dam. All right, so as we move further back here, just lots of standing timber and stuff like that, but nothing that really caught my eye as far as anything that I could mark for you guys. There's some marinas back in here you could fish around. Really big ramp that's over here as well. And then out here is all those crappie condos. That's what are these in 58, 57. They have so many of them, all these different crappie condos out here. Now, this point is going to be a great point to fish around because they put all those condos out there. You can also see we got a little bit of riprap going around this point too. So that always is a big plus. As we move down, you continue to see the rock or the riprap just on some of these points. We've got some here, got a little bit more here off this point, some more off of that point as well. Not too much off this one. There's a little bit right there, but not nearly like what we saw on these other ones. This one looks good as well. So does that. Here's your more crappie condos. You got more rock out in here, a little bit of slab or a little bit of rock right in there too. And then if you move up, you continue to see just these random rock piles. There's another one here, more crappie condos close to it, some more random rock piles. They're just off some of these points, but not all the points. Another great rock pile right there too. So lots of good stuff. We worked our way up that bank line. You could see we had several different rock piles that we could fish. Unfortunately, in 2022, the lake's down so much, we might not be able to take advantage of those right now. Now, as we move further out here, check out these points. Anytime you get these points that move way out here, now I don't know if this is just because it's maybe a windier day and it's pushing all the dirt this way, but if this point comes out here, that's a good place for shell beds as well. So you definitely want to take a look at that. Now we've got some laydowns back in here, more rocks, more rock piles back in there. I mean, these are cool. These are like all these isolated little rock areas. This area right in here, this point looks juicy. You could fish this point. Once you get done wearing them out, come over here, see if you can catch anything off this point, hop over to this rock pile here, go back to that point. I mean, you can literally spend all day just fishing in this little area. It's got 4 little isolated rock piles, plus it's got a point. So all good areas right in there. Now, as we move up here, it gets crazy. Crappie condos again. We've got them everywhere. I didn't see too much along the bank line that really caught my attention. There were a few things here. We've got some more rock that kind of points out here a little bit further out than everything else. Got some pretty decent rock off of that point too. Problem is it's just really consistent all the way through there, but maybe just right in there. You got some more rock and laydowns here, and then up here you've actually got another one of those little isolated piles. So I like the isolated piles a lot better than I do just like, say like this. This is a really big stretch, but that little isolated pile, that really sparks my attention. You got kind of the same thing out here too. Just from here to here, you got rock. Everywhere else is dirt and sand. So real good spot there. Off that point's going to be good. A good little ramp you could fish too. Some laydowns back in here, some big old laydowns back in here on these 2 areas too. So all kinds of stuff that you could go to and definitely find some fish. And as we move up here, this looks like a potential brush pile, or maybe it's just some trees that have fallen and it just looks like a brush pile. But that, when the water's up, could be a really good place to look. In fact, let's take a look now that we've seen all these different rock piles. Let's move this up to when the water's up a little bit higher and see what it would actually look like when the water's at a regular pool. So this is 2015. Doesn't look like the lake's flooded. Looks like the lake's kind of where it needs to be. And when you look at here, all these rock piles that we were looking at, they're all submerged. All those rock piles that we looked at, they're all submerged. We went up and down that bank line and looked at those rock piles earlier. And now if you come out here and look, they're all in the water. So if we can get the lake to get back up to full pool, I think a lot of these areas are really going to treat you good. With the lake being down, it's going to be a little bit trickier. All right, so let's keep moving. This is that tree or brush pile I was telling you about. Now that we see when the lake is up, it's actually a full-blown tree. So definitely a good spot to look at. You've got rocks up here. You've got all these crappie condos out here. Let's draw this back to 2012. And let's keep moving on and see what else we can find. Again, really good riprap all in here. big old section of it here, kind of stops, and then it hits these 2 points. So you want to take advantage of those. You've got some pretty big laydowns back in here you can fish around, and you start to see a little bit of rocks again right here. Got a couple more right here. It's very strange. It's like very isolated little rock patches. Some there, and there's some debris that's up here off this point. Let me show you where I'm at now. So now I've moved my way all the way up this bank line, and I'm up here by the Texas Golf Academy. So we go up here, and when we get around here, around this point, obviously there's that rock we talked about, but there's some debris right in here. And I don't know if this is a cage for a pipeline or maybe it's just old debris from a dock or whatever it is, but that's a really good place for debris to be right there off the edge of that point. If you also look just to this side of it, just to the west side of it, you've also got a really nice little rocky point that comes out. So that could be a great area to fish too. Really good area for them to stage up and set at before they go back in to spawn. Now we move a little bit farther down this bank line. We're going to continue to see the same types of things. We got these little isolated rock piles here. We've got some more isolated rock going on right in here. Some more in this area. It's really good laydowns back in these pockets. So they could really, when they start pushing those bait fish back in there, they can really push stuff back in there. It could be a really good place to go look. You've also got some pretty big rocks coming right off of this point. I'm going to zoom back a little bit, show you guys where I am because I'm getting ready to show you some different stuff that I've marked with some tracks out here. But as we move further up here, there's just some more laydowns in these pockets. And then if we get out here to this point, I'm going to draw this back a little bit more so we can actually see what's going on. So this is 2011 now, and you can see you have a full foundation out here that you can fish around. I would work that foundation big time. That's going to be a fish attracting magnet, a really good area to try to find some fish. Now, what I did over here was I marked a whole area in here of basically it's just a big pile of laydown. So if for some reason you were out there fishing and you wanted to, for whatever reason, they were just around all this really thick matted, brush and stuff like that, this would be a really good area to look. So take a look at that track. You can't really see it well in this image. I'm trying to see what year I actually used, but they changed the years on me so you can't see it as well. But right in here where this track is going to be a ton of laydowns and brush and all kinds of gnarly stuff, things to get hung up in, but also things that the bass absolutely love. All right, so let's draw this back a little bit and let's go up here. Let's look at some of these other tracks that are out here. One right here, this is like an old pond. You can't really tell in this image, but you might be able to tell in 2012 a little bit better. You can see we've got a little pond in here and a huge pile of laydowns right in here as well. Now, I don't know how effective this stuff's going to be because I don't know how deep this actually gets up in here. This might not even be fishable water, but if it is fishable water, you've got these ponds up here you can mess around with and things like that. I can also see them pushing up in here and and spawning if this is if they can get back up in here. So definitely something to take a look at. You got more of those laydowns there. You got a little creek channel. These are just marking all those really thick brush that's out there for you. You've got another little creek channel that comes down here around all this brush too. This could be pretty interesting, getting out in here and really focusing in on this creek channel and staying in that creek channel and just working the brush on both sides. That can be a very effective way to fish as well. And then when we get up here, there's not too much more to show you other than the main creek channel here. So if you wanted to go up in here and fish in the creek channel, definitely there's just areas that you want to look at, right? Look where the bends are. Right in here is going to be a good area, especially with whatever that is. Right in here is going to be a good spot. Up here by this bridge is going to be great because it's got a huge pile of debris that's right around it. So that could be good. And this little opening where this little creek comes in and meets the main river here, that's always going to be a good spot to look as well. So that starts us going back the other direction. Let's go ahead and end the video there. And when we come back next week, we will finish up the Google Earth waypoints for Lake Waco, and then we'll switch over for a third video and talk about the Navionics offshore. So if you haven't had a chance yet, go out and check out our site, simplisticfishing.com. You can pick up all these waypoints that we're talking about offshore and all the Google Earth waypoints, everything all together, simplisticfishing.com. Go check us out. It'll change the way you fish. And until next time, guys, I hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.